This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Rachel Fife.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Now, are you looking for senior care options for yourself or a loved one and find the process overwhelming? Well, there is a resource out there to help you navigate these waters. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Taylor Florence, with Transitional Care Solutions. So, Taylor, how is it going?
So good, Rachel. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, gosh, we are excited to learn about your business. So, tell us about your company.
Yeah, I'd love to. Your introduction was perfect. Maybe starting where I got into healthcare, I was an administrator in skilled care and nursing and rehabilitation type centers. Very, very common as people age to have to spend time in that type of a setting. And it sounds cliche, but I followed two passions. After about 5 years as an administrator, I wanted to be more hands-on with families. I really enjoy that part of the healthcare experience. And I also wanted to be an entrepreneur. That was always a goal of mine. And so I started Transitional Care Solutions. As you described, we help families. It's a complementary service to families. In fact, we partner with hundreds of communities and local care providers throughout Orange County to help families find the best care options for their loved ones as they age.
Wow, how did you get into this business? You kind of touched upon that, but how did you get into it? Expand on that.
Yeah, as an administrator, I had a team of 100 people, from kitchen staff to nurses to maintenance staff to physical therapists. And as you can imagine, and we had, a lot of patients every day and doctors coming in, and we get a lot of vendors, right? As you can imagine, coming in with all kinds of great services. One vendor in particular came in offering this senior care transition and placement support. And because I was involved quite a bit with the discharge process, that was a really important thing to us, was making sure that every patient had a safe discharge. I ended up interacting with these individuals that were providing the service, and I just thought, I think I could do a good job with that. I love being hands-on with families and people, and I've been through some things in my own life, and saw the kind of the challenges of healthcare when it's people don't plan for these types of transitions. You don't sit around the dinner table and say, hey, let's think of all the 100 different things that mom and dad could go through as they age, right? You just have health insurance, and then you get that call in the middle of the night, dad fell and broke his hip, and you're thrown into it, unfortunately. So having a resource like myself to be by your side, by the side of a family as they go through this, has been invaluable to families. At least they've told me. I don't want to talk about my own business, but grateful that we get to help families, and they've been very kind in their feedback as we support them.
Wonderful. Well, what are some maybe myths or misconceptions in your industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. Something I take very serious is that, as I mentioned, it's a complementary service to families. Well, I've got to stay in business somehow, right? And provide, pay. I got to pay for the volleyball, flag football, and soccer team fees somehow. I have 3 daughters, all love sports. Well, we partner with all these communities, and they pay a referral fee. I'm very transparent about it with families. But unfortunately, that can sometimes be abused, right? Where someone may not have the best interest of a family, and they're saying, hey, come check out this really expensive place. It's awesome, knowing that maybe they'll get a bigger commission or something like that. So I'm being very transparent about it because it's something I take very serious. In 10 years now of helping families, putting the family first, focusing on their needs, their budget, and what is best for them is so important to us. And I hope is kind of call it a misconception that our organization has tried to overcome by really being genuine and sincere about focusing on families and their needs and never putting other kind of outside influences above that.
Wonderful. Well, we know marketing is really the heart of every business. So, how are you targeting or attracting, your customers or, servicing?
Yeah, I'll be very honest. It is something when we first met, talked about you invited me to come on your show, on your podcast. I think I mentioned to you I am not great at marketing. We met at an event, and it was the first time I'd been to an event like that in a long time. It's something I need to be better at. If I could go back, I would probably have started a Facebook presence or something like that. I know social media in today's world is so important, and there's a lot of older individuals that really love Facebook and other platforms like that, and an opportunity to connect with them and offer them help and support through those channels is something I should be doing or should have done a long time ago. Now, with that said, how have I connected with families? As a skilled nursing administrator, I had a lot of relationships in the community with physicians and hospitals and case managers and others. And I just kind of tapped into those relationships and went to those people and said, hey, here's what I'm doing. And it's been neat because it's a very kind of personalized type of marketing. So I don't have, the big volume of referrals coming from online sources and all kinds of stuff and families to help, which would be great. But our marketing approach has always been very hands-on, very personal. And what's been interesting, Rachel, and I don't know if people experience this in other industries, but the blessing of it is that the referrals we get are, call it, high quality. These are very kind of personal. A physician calling me saying, "Hey, I just sat in the room with a family that's going through this, and I think you're the person to help them." And it's just a very kind of high quality hot lead, if you want to call it that, versus fielding 20 calls from kind of online sources to get to that one that actually could use your service. So again, pros and cons in our approach, but those personal relationships have meant a lot to our kind of approach and our marketing and the families that we have the blessing to help.
Now, have you ever thought of doing your own podcast?
Well, I started a newsletter. 2024, I did a newsletter. It was a goal of mine. I said, all right, I don't have Facebook. I don't have some of these things. And I feel like this is just the way the world's starting to communicate. So I started I said, all right, I got to do something. I started a newsletter and I called it In the Know with Flo. My last name's Florence. And it was an amazing experience. Why did I stop? I honestly have no idea. My goal was to do it for 12 months, to do the whole year. And I did that. And I kind of had a network of emails that I had pulled together from all the years helping families and doctors and case managers and others. And I would share a little note from myself, just something kind of personal about maybe the time of year or et cetera. And then I would share a kind of a little quick note of industry relative information, kind of just good information about that common things that families go through and common kind of questions that maybe come up, and would share a little answer. That was a great experience. I need to do more of that. Maybe a podcast is the right approach.
Well, you don't know. Well, outside of work now, what do you like to do for fun?
Like I said, I have three daughters, 11-year-old twins and a 4-year-old, and they are, and a beautiful wife. We actually grew up in San Clemente and dated 2 years at San Clemente High School and high school sweethearts. I went after high school and did a foreign mission service, which was a great experience, and she went off to school. But when I got home, she wasn't married, so I proposed to her 3 weeks after I returned home, and the rest is history. We love to spend time together. I help coach. My volleyball daughter is kind of in the whole club scene, and that's way above my pay grade on coaching. But I help coach the flag football and the soccer. And personally, I love to play golf. And then my wife and I love to we love to travel and bring the girls when we can. So just the usual things. We're just living a quiet life, and just trying to focus on what we think is most important.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Taylor, please tell our listeners one thing they should remember about transitional care solutions.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Honestly, what I tell families is that there's three pillars to a smooth transition, is what I call it. It sounds cheesy, but it really does help. Number one, most importantly, care needs. Physically, emotionally, mentally. What is someone going through? What are their needs? Number two, uh, location, and that's twofold: the type of location that is going to work best for you, and the geographical location. uh, Another conversation to be had about all that. And then three is budget, which plays a big role. Unfortunately, the insurance covers hospital and skilled nursing and some of these things, but most all assisted living and caregivers in the home and things of that nature is private pay. So it can be very stressful for families. So I bring those three up to say it's a lot to think through. And if I could say anything, don't wait to pick up the phone. It's okay to get help, as in anything, right? And I have too many families that will call me, and they're already kind of deep into the process and very confused and have visited places that maybe aren't the right fit, and they're worried and frustrated. And so anyway, I guess the what I'm trying to say is, sorry to ramble a little bit, Rachel, but what I'm trying to say is, don't hesitate. As soon as you start to have concerns or worries or questions, call for help. There's great people like myself out there. Call me. I'd love to help, obviously. And we can just start chatting through it. It doesn't mean that you have to make a transition right away, for your dad doing assisted living, but we can start chatting through it and do it the right way and build a good foundation so that when the time is right, we make a smooth transition to the right option.
Wonderful. Well, how can our listeners learn more about transitional care solutions?
Well, my phone number is kind of, my cell phone is, though I might not have social media, my cell phone is kind of always at my hip, and I'm always available to families 24/7. So, I can share my phone number, or that's something maybe you can do, Rachel, to the listeners. But please call. I do have a website as well. The other, I guess the social media, I don't know if this counts as social media, but I did start a Yelp page years ago, and families have said some really nice things on Yelp. So if a family is wondering or curious about, call it reviews or feedback, we do have a Yelp, Transitional Care Solutions, Orange County, and some families have said nice things. But welcome to call me on my cell phone anytime. It's available to everybody. That's kind of my mode of communicating. And then, of course, the website has a little picture of my family and some other information about how we can help and support.
Well, Taylor, I really appreciate you being on the show. And, we wish you and your business really the very best moving forward.
I appreciate that, Rachel. You're so kind to do this and to spotlight local businesses and give us this opportunity. Really, really cool of you.
Wonderful.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnporangecounty.com. That's gnporangecounty.com, or call 714-941-8862.
You did a great job, Taylor.